Hi everyone, welcome back to Lisa's Love and Light. Happy Tuesday to you all. Oh goodness, I wanted to be here earlier today, but I had to do an online training for something. So I had to do that, and then I was trying to figure out how to do these shorts so that I can put them on. You know, the video shorts, the YouTube thing. So I have to play around with that. And then time started going by. But I am here, and some changes will be made. I just have to do some, more searching on how to do that. So how are you guys doing? Hope you're doing good on this Tuesday, cloudy. Well, the sun is out a little bit. But I hope you guys had a great day. You're taking care of yourself, and you're relaxing, and just doing what you need to for you, so that you're okay. And thank you for your comments, the respectable ones. Most people are doing that anyway, the respectable comments, and I appreciate that, because it's letting me know that these messages are resonating with you. I talk from a space of personal experiences and things that I've gone through, and how I am, instead of succumbing to it, I'm learning to overcome. So thank you for being here, guys, and showing up. Thank you for supporting this channel. It means everything to me. I've been here for a while. It took me a long time to get from A to B to C, but I'm doing it. And I want to expand things to help more people. So be patient with me as I make those changes. So let me know in the comment categories how these messages are resonating with you, and let me know if it's beneficial within your own circumstances. So with that being said, I'm not a therapist or a social worker or a counselor, just someone who talks from personal experiences, and I talk about how I overcame most of these things instead of succumbing to it. So guys, let's get into this topic of discussion today. So the title is Healing the Pain and Betrayals. So remember, I talk about everything that happens to me. What I don't do on this channel is give specific details or names or locations or anything like that. The point of the matter is to share that the pain and everything I've gone through, it is just something that no one person should ever have to go through. But because it didn't break me, it just refined me as an individual, because what doesn't break you will strengthen you, and I draw my strength from God. It taught me how to trust God more instead of leaning on my own understanding, So it just taught me. Hold on a minute, guys. I have to get my water that's over here. Okay. It just taught me how to overcome instead of succumbing to these trials and tribulations, because it can be heavy. And I talk from a space of everything I've gone through, and I hope that if it resonates with you, that it helps you with any situations that you might be going through. So for me, everybody has their deal breaker, and their and it doesn't have to be like a romantic connection. It could be anything, whether it's family, business, friends, etc. Everybody has a point where they get to a deal breaker. And for me, it's disrespect and being dismissed like I don't matter. And I've dealt with that so much that as I grown, healed, and evolved, I just refuse to tolerate that, because I try to give people the respect that I want. Do unto others as you want done unto you. Many people seem to forget that, and how to, treat others the way that they want to be treated. And the disrespect, the dismissal, all those things are just, it's a deal breaker for me. And I would address it one time, but if it continues, it's a point where I just cut folks off. And I just give my silence to a situation. So, and I talk about this a lot, about pain and healing and stuff, because no one in one lifetime should have to deal with all this kind of stuff, all, together. So, I've dealt with pain from betrayals, thinking that someone who was a close friend, who I started, when you build up friendship with someone, and shared some personal stuff, and it was shared with other people. And that betrayal, it took a lot for me to come back from, because it's somebody I trusted and thought was not just a friend, but was more or less like family to me. And when my personal, nothing wrong, but we all have personal things that, we share with other folks. Sometimes people that we trust. And when it got back to somebody that it should have never gotten back to, I had to cut that person off. And let me tell you, it took everything inside of me to cut off that person, because she was like family to me. But when I found out what had happened, and telling my personal business to somebody else, it was something about my grief and stuff I was going through, and it was just unbelievable to me. And it took a lot of hard work to overcome that betrayal. And I've gone through a lot of betrayals, but like I said, that one was really, really hard to overcome. And this is why I take my time getting to know people. I'm not really into my family because of stuff like this as well. And I just, keep moving forward with the help of God. If it wasn't for God, I wouldn't be able to do this, guys. And then people sharing your personal information with others, then having exes who was cheating, lying, and doing the most, everything. When you have a good heart and you're a good person, that doesn't mean that you're a naive individual. The person I am today, which is different from the old version of me before I healed, is that I'm going to observe. And I may not say anything at first, but I'm going to observe things, to see when I'm getting to know people, who they are, what type of individual are they, can they be trusted, are they an honest person, all those things. And it may take me a minute to do that, because not everyone is who they say they are. One of the other things is I talk about, I grew up in a religious setting for most of my life, and then at some point in time, when I moved away from that situation. And one of the things that really, to talk about, a religious organization that I was affiliated with for a while, and I left. And I'm not talking about the one that I grew up in, the one that I left. When you're in God's house, the things that go on there at some of these places, it's like, it really, really infuriates me, because the situation I dealt with, if you don't like someone, just leave that person alone. But to go into a situation, and this was during a time when I was grieving, because my mom, when I got that call about what happened, and that I was grieving that. So I'm in church, and I was talking about that, and I was going through not even a transformation, guys. I was just in a lot of pain, because a lot of stuff was happening. A lot of people were passing away, and I was dealing with a lot. And one time I came in and I sat down towards the back, because it was about 2 minutes before the service started. And because someone there, and this is hard to talk about, so I'm just, thinking about my words here because we are on YouTube. But I have to bring this out because some people might be dealing with something like this or may have dealt with this, but they just afraid to talk about it. But I'm going to talk about it here today. And I came in and I was probably 2 minutes late or close to 2 minutes before the service started. And so I sat towards the back, and someone who was already sitting there when I sat down, tapped the person in front of them and said, as soon as I sat down next to them, and said, just got up and moved because they didn't want to be anywhere near me, and tapped the person in front of them and asked if they could sit next to them. I thought, I just was like, no, this can't be happening. We're in God's house. What's going on here? And so somebody who, I know who noticed it, talked to me about it. And when that individual was confronted, by the church, they lied about it and made an excuse. And I'm not going to go into the details of it, but lied about, and you can, what they were saying, it was just a total lie. And they got up because of, they didn't want to be near me. I'm going to leave it like that. And we're in God's house, and you think that because you're in church, you're in God's house, right? That certain things that you see people do, they're not going to do it there, but they do. A lot of stuff that's going on, a lot of gossip, lying, just the gossip and talking about people. Now I'm already in a place of pain, and then that happened, and something else prior to that, a few other things happened, but that was the last straw for me. And I just said, no, this is not for me. And when people feel like that I have to be in that environment, no, I don't. I have a connection with God. Believe me, I'm telling you, God has come through for me in so many ways. And even when I felt like just giving up, I'm just tired of this, blah, blah. Nope, God come and just, boom, show me, no, you got to stay on this path. And after that experience, I just stopped going. And I started making vows to God. If you help me, and I started doing that and making vows, and God started showing me. And I'm talking from experience, but I had to see people for who they were and not what I thought they were. Because some people have masks on, the mask of deception. I did a video on that a while back, and I had this, God let me see people for who they are. It was painful, it was hurtful. And now I'm in a space of where if it's not enhancing my life, if it's not something that's uplifting, then I just don't bother with it. But that was hard for me because, like I said, the grief, everything I was going through was so difficult to see that kind of situation. And then once I left and I made vows to God and I started doing the therapy, having a therapist, doing the work and moving forward, those vows that I keep, I see the changes in my life for the better. The peace. That's what I was asking God for. Inner peace. Let me be at a space of peace. Because everything around me that was in my life at the time was just chaotic. But in order to be at a place of inner peace and growth, sometimes God has to remove people and situations out of your life in order for you to heal, so that you can get to that point of acquiring that inner peace. And it's not easy, guys. And this is why I'm talking about it, because that pain had me on my knees. Why? I didn't do anything. I just sat down here and, and then to lie about it. That's not why you got up and moved. Come on, we know why. And I just said, you know what? I had enough of this. And then as I started to work on myself, we can't change other people, how they feel, and the bigotry and all the stuff that goes on in this world, but we can change our reaction to it. we can change ourselves and how we react to it. And I set those strong boundaries, and as I set the boundaries, things started to change in my life for the better. The vows, the prayers to God, sowing seeds, into his ministry, doing things to uplift. And as I did that, God, that inner peace started to come as I started to take care of myself and realized that people were just feeding off of me. My goodness and kindness, taking it for naiveness, which is nothing like that. And as I started to transform and change for the better, they see me differently, like, oh, she doesn't want to be bothered with us, or blah blah. No, when you are striving for peace, especially as we get older, that's everything. Acquiring peace, is everything to me right now, and I would never compromise that peace for anything. And this is why it's important, if you are striving for that, is to set those strong boundaries. I talk about boundaries all the time, guys, because these boundaries will help you to continue to stay focused on your growth and healing, so that you can acquire inner peace. When you have toxic individuals around you, people who love to lie and gossip and talk about others and bring people down and making them feel less than zero, you're never going to heal from those things. You're never going to grow. It just keeps you in a place of stagnation. When somebody is always bringing negativity to the table. So I had to learn how to set those boundaries to keep those things away from me. And as I did the work in therapy, I started to look at the elephant in a room. And now I'm at a place of inner peace. And whatever people say or don't say, it doesn't bother me the same anymore. It's a disappointment. But I say, okay, God, I got this. Yeah, I see it for what it is. Now I can set those boundaries or either close the door and keep moving. It is important, people, that to have other people in your life, people who respect you, people who are going to uplift you, motivate you, and tell you, you know what, you're having a bad day, but they're there to uplift you and to motivate you. Just a kind word, a kind act. That's all that's needed with some people. You may be saving somebody from a space of despair when you open up a door for them. Say a kind word. You know how many times that I met strangers and they told me, that I had made their day by my kind words or action. That's all it takes. But the world we live in today is spending mostly on toxicity, disrespect, and they're trying to normalize that like it's normal. There's nothing normal about any of those things. Do unto others as you want done unto you, because what we put out in this world always comes back. Some people don't believe in that, but I promise you it's true. It will always swing right back around the corner. Do unto others as you want done unto you, because if you don't want that done to you, don't do it to anybody else. But some people just feel like they can do whatever they want and however, but when it comes back to them, they shouldn't complain about it. And when you put out that good energy, it comes back to you. I choose to set boundaries, especially with those who don't value who I am as an individual, those who are disrespectful, because some people are hell-bent on just, how am I trying to say this? They're hell-bent on just, just making you look bad. I'll put it in that manner. And so people like that, why do you need people like that in your life? Set those boundaries. And when you feel that inner peace, there could be chaos going on around you, all types of stuff, but you're not a part of it. You're over here healing. And as you grow, heal, and evolve, you get that inner peace where things don't bother you in the same way as it did in the past. That's how you know that you grew from some situations. and be around people who enhance your life, bring laughter to the table, make you feel, respected, and just, uplifted. And continue to take care of yourself, guys. But I wanted to talk about that because I've gone through so much, and just the fact that I overcame it is a miracle from God. Because if it wasn't for God, I would not be here. And I had to work so hard to get from A to B to C to D, But once you get to that point, you're going to be glad that you did the work to get here. So never give up on yourself, everyone. Just, you fall down, get up. We're going to fall. We're human. We're imperfect. Get up. The next day, dust yourself off and keep moving forward. Have that resilience, so that you can continue to move forward. Never allow a disappointment to keep you down. Get up and keep going and ask God to help you. I promise you He will, and I'm living proof of that. And I wanted to dedicate this particular video about this, because one of the things before I leave you guys today is what hurt me the most out of all the pain and everything I've went through, the betrayals of people sharing my personal information that I trusted, and things coming from a church where it's supposed to be God's house. And I'm not even talking about everything that happened there, but it was so painful and shocking that I had to talk to God and say, this is supposed to be your house. But not everyone who's there is there for the same reason. And I had to realize, and we're not talking about mistakes, we're talking about deliberate actions, so that see you in pain and hurt. And I had to disconnect myself from that particular situation so that I can grow, heal, and evolve, and to learn from it so I don't make the same mistakes, to see it for what it is and not what I wanted it to be. And that's the lesson I learned from that. So let us learn lessons so that we don't repeat lessons that's just painful situations. Let's learn to turn that pain into power, power into purpose, purpose into paying it forward, so that we not only help ourselves, but we help others as well. That's the message today, guys. Go do something good. Enjoy your day. I'll be back tomorrow, hopefully a little bit earlier. And subscribe to the channel. Invite others to do the same. Thank you for being here, and I'll see you guys sometime tomorrow. Enjoy your evening. Bye for now.